Sometimes fate doesn't knock on the door, sometimes it crashes through it, screaming truths no one is ready to hear. This is the story of a boy who walked into a law office with nothing but a photo, a paper-stained letter, and a broken heart. What he didn't know was that the man behind the desk held the key, not just to his mother's freedom, but to his entire life. The rain was falling hard that Wednesday morning in Nairobi. The city bustled as usual, umbrellas bumping into briefcases and matatus splashing puddles onto tired commuters. In the heart of the city stood a tall glass-walled law firm. Its name glowed in golden letters: Omondi and Associates, Justice, Truth, Legacy. Inside, Mr. Victor Omondi, a prestigious lawyer in his late 40s, stared at a file he had barely touched. His thoughts were distant, powerful, successful, respected, yet empty. Another case, another client, another faceless day. That was until he walked in, a boy, barely 12th wet, shaking, holding a muddy envelope. He didn't have an appointment. He didn't have a name on the register, but he had eyes that pierced through glass and gold. "Please, sir, I need your help," the boy said, voice trembling. "My name is Brian. My mom is in prison, but she's innocent." Victor blinked. He hated interruptions, but something about the boy, he couldn't look away. Brian handed Victor the envelope. Inside was a faded photo of a young woman, beautiful, soft-eyed and familiar, and a letter. The handwriting was shaky. "Dear Brian, if you're reading this, I didn't make it out in time, but don't let them bury the truth. Find him, the man I told you about. Victor Omondi. Show him this letter. He was the only man I ever truly loved. Love you forever, Mama." Victor's heart froze. His fingers shook slightly. That name, that face, that letter. "Your mother's name," he whispered. Janet Akot," Brian answered quickly. "They said she stole money at her workplace, but she didn't. She was framed. She always said, if anything ever happened, to find you." Victor leaned back, the blood draining from his face. He hadn't heard Janet's name in over 13 years, but he remembered her. The girl with sun-kissed eyes who had once laughed beside him under a mango tree back in campus. They had loved, recklessly, wildly. But then, life pulled them apart. He had no idea. She had a son. His son, Victor, took the case. He didn't tell Brian the truth, not yet. He wasn't ready, but his entire soul lit on fire. He dove into the case with an obsession no one in his firm had seen before. Janet had been working as a secretary in a private medical clinic. One day, 1.2 million Kenyan shillings vanished from the company account. With no CCTV and no forensic checks, blame fell on her like lightning. A forged signature, a planted receipt, and a system too lazy to look deeper. Victor reopened the case, hired forensic accountants, interviewed old staff, cross-checked every timestamp and withdrawal. And slowly, the truth emerged. The manager, a man named Martin Tuo, had been embezzling funds for years. Janet had gotten too close. She had been silenced, with handcuffs and headlines. Victor built the defense, and while he fought in court, he watched Brian grow from a scared boy to a warrior in his own right. The boy visited his mom every week, shared every legal update with her, and every night he prayed not for justice, but for truth. One evening, after another long day in court, Brian fell asleep in the waiting lounge. Victor walked out, saw the boy curled up on the couch, holding that same photo of Janet. He couldn't keep it in any longer. He sat beside him and whispered, "She was everything to me once. I didn't know about you. I didn't know you existed." Brian stared, half asleep. "Did you love her?" Victor's eyes welled up. "Yes, with everything I had and everything I lost." Brian looked at him silently, then asked, "Are you my father?" Victor nodded, slowly, A tear slid down his cheek. Brian didn't say anything. He just placed his tiny hand into Victor's and whispered, "Then help us. Please, Dad. Don't stop fighting." After 3 months, the case came to a close. Courtroom. Silence. The judge adjusted his glasses, papers trembling in his hands. In light of new evidence, this court finds Janet Accord not guilty. Tears, gasps, screams of joy. Brian ran to his mother, hugging her tighter than he ever had before. Janet sobbed into his shoulder, kissing his forehead, and then she saw him. Victor, standing across the room, eyes locked. She walked over. "You came." "I had to," Victor said. She looked at him. "Did you tell him?" "I did." Janet took a deep breath. Then, "It's time we write a new story together." Months later, the three of them sat under that same mango tree, the one Victor and Janet had loved beneath as students. Brian ran around chasing dragonflies, his laughter echoing through the breeze. Victor and Janet sat side by side, older, wiser, whole. No, they couldn't get back the years lost, but they had today, and they had each other. Sometimes, family isn't what we're born into, it's what we fight for, in a world full of broken promises and silent goodbyes. This is the story of one boy who refused to give up, one lawyer who found more than justice, and one woman whose love endured prison walls, forged documents, and time itself. This was the story of Brian, Janet, and Victor, and the truth that set them free.